Okay folks, Philly Boy J back here with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make lima beans with ham hocks. Okay, so what we're going to do first is we're going to separate the good beans from the bad rotten beans, as I showed you guys in my red beans and rice video and my black eyed peas video. Whenever you're making beans, you want to separate the good beans from the bad beans first. You don't want to cook rotten or broken cracked beans. Okay, so I'm going to get a bowl here. I'm going to pour the lima beans into this bowl. We're going to just go through here, and if you see any beans like this that's cracked or rotten, you're going to remove them. Now usually when I'm making lima beans, I don't soak them overnight like I do my black eyed peas. Black eyed peas take a little longer to cook, I feel. And the point in soaking them is to, in a way, break them down so that they'll cook quicker. Here's another one. But I don't think lima beans take that long to cook, so I do rinse my beans off whenever I'm making beans. I always rinse them off, so that's what we're going to go and do now that we remove the rotten beans. We're going to rinse these off. And I actually see another rotten bean here. Going to remove that too. Missed one. Okay, so I'm going to set these aside, let them soak a little while. Okay, now what I have here are some ham hocks. And they look like this because they've been sitting in the freezer. Actually, I had them sitting out a little while. Okay, we're going to just rinse these off really well. Some cool water. Okay, and we're going to place those in a pot and boil them. We're going to add 3 of these ham hocks. And you're going to add some water. We're going to place them onto the oven, and we're going to allow them to simmer on medium heat for about 2 to 3 hours, or until they are extremely tender. Then that's when we're going to add our lima beans. Okay, after about 2.5 hours, give or take, But yeah, just gonna let them cook. All right. Once they get tender after 2.5 hours, we're going to add the lima beans and the other ingredients that we're about to talk about now. Okay guys, so here are the seasonings that you're going to season your lima beans with. Here we have some parsley flakes. We have some seasoning salt back there. We have some black pepper. We have some garlic powder. You're probably going to use 1 to 2 chicken flavor bouillon cubes. Those are bouillon cubes. Here I have some thyme. Not going to use much of that at all, just a little bit. We have some butter just to thicken the gravy and to give it a additional flavor. And we have a little sugar. My grandma always put a little bit of sugar in her lima beans. We're not going to add a lot of sugar, only about 1 tablespoon worth of sugar. Okay, just give it that extra flavor. Okay, really does something to it. It's not going to taste sweet, so don't get worried. I know some of you inexperienced cookers out there, whenever you talk about putting sugar in food, people get scared and they think of something that's really sweet. It's not going to make it too sweet. Okay. You want to start off with about a teaspoon of all of these ingredients, and once you get done, if you feel like you need any more of these seasonings, you can add more. If you feel like you need more black pepper or you need a little more taste for salt, you can add salt. But those are the seasonings that we're going to be using. Slice the celery down the middle. Then chop it this way. I don't add much vegetables to my beans. Just add a little bit. So that's our celery. Going to chop up this green pepper. I might not even use all of this. Probably end up only using half. About that much there. I'm going to save the other piece of green pepper for another recipe. Chop it up like this. This just gives the beans additional flavor. By the time the beans are done cooking, you would barely be able to see the vegetables. They dissolve under all that heat. And then I'm going to use 1 small onion. Okay, so chop your onion up like this. Nice small pieces like that. I don't add the same vegetables to every beans recipe. It depends on what beans I'm making. You know, in my black eyed peas, I add tomatoes. In my red beans and rice recipe, I add scallions. So it really just depends on what kind of beans I'm making. Certain vegetables don't taste right with certain beans, and I think with lima beans, onions, green peppers, and celery taste the best with lima beans. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit this aside until we're ready to add them. All right. Okay guys, so we're back, and as you can see, the ham hocks are pretty tender. But they're not completely tender because we're going to allow them to cook for another hour. But you can see the meat there is kind of easily coming off the bone a bit. Even that one there, the meat's falling off the bone. Yeah, so it's on its way to being completely tender. So we're gonna go ahead and add the lima beans, the vegetables, and our butter and seasonings. And also additional water. So we're gonna add these beans. Okay. Going to add our vegetables now. Our celery, green peppers, and onions. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to only add about a teaspoon of each seasoning. Here's a teaspoon of garlic powder. Don't want to add a lot of season to this. Some garlic powder. Teaspoon of black pepper. Seasoning salt. You can add however much of that you want. Can't tell you how much salt to put in your food. I'm not going to use much of this because we're going to be adding a bouillon cube, and that has a little bit of salt in it, so only a little bit of seasoned salt. Going to add a teaspoon of parsley flakes. I'm only going to add a half a teaspoon of thyme. Just a half a teaspoon. About that much like that. Just a teeny bit of thyme. Not much of that at all. I'm going to add a teaspoon of sugar. And a bouillon cube. Chicken flavor bouillon cube. You can actually add 2 bouillon cubes. And last but not least, I'm going to add a big teaspoon of butter. And we're going to allow these to simmer on medium heat. If you want to speed up the process, you can cover it with a top. Okay, but these are pretty well seasoned now. I'm just going to let these go until they're nice and tender. When they're done, they're going to be left with a little gravy at the bottom. It's going to create a gravy. And they'll be well tender and seasoned. So I'm going to get back with you guys when it's done. What I'm going to do also is make a little rice with this. That's what most people like to eat this with. So let that simmer on medium heat for about another hour or so. I'm gonna add some more water. Right. See you when it's done to plate it. Okay guys, so as you can see, the lima beans are done. They're extremely tender. They taste really, really good. They're well seasoned. As you can see, ham hocks are nice and tender, falling off the bone. Yeah, baby, these things look good. That ham hocks is very tender. Looks awesome. So let's get ready to plate this. So this is really good with rice. Got some white rice there. Here we have our ham hocks. Look at that. Some more ham hock meat. Look at that. Here's our lima beans. Hope you guys enjoy. Try this recipe out. It's really, really good. I even like a little hot sauce on mine. Lima beans and ham hocks. Taste that celery and green peppers. Absolutely delicious. Try it out, folks.